What if the last words you ever spoke were caught on tape? And nearly half a century later, the world was still listening. That's exactly what happened on September 25, 1978, when Pacific Southwest Airlines Flight 182, a Boeing 727, slammed into a quiet San Diego neighborhood, killing 144 people and leaving behind one of the most chilling cockpit recordings in aviation history. And today, we're not just going to talk about the crash. We're going to walk through 10 haunting facts about Flight 182 that make this tragedy unforgettable even 47 years later. Because history isn't just dates and numbers. Sometimes it's a final laugh, a misplaced assumption, or a heartbreaking "I love you, Ma," spoken seconds before the end. Let's dive in. The perfect day that wasn't. On paper, it should have been a great day to fly. Clear skies, mild winds, no thunderstorms hiding in the distance. Pilots dream of weather like that. And yet, that's what makes this story sting. The crash didn't happen in the middle of chaos. It happened on a picture-perfect morning. But what looks perfect on the outside can be a disaster in disguise. Which brings us to the Cessna that nobody could find. Air traffic controllers had warned the PSA crew, keep an eye out for a small Cessna in the area. And the crew did spot it at first. Captain James McFerrin even noted, "I saw him at 1 o'clock, he's probably behind us now." Spoiler alert, the Cessna was not behind them. It was directly beneath their plane. The aviation equivalent of thinking you lost your phone when it's literally in your hand. And if that little mistake sounds bad, buckle up. The laughter that turned to horror. Moments before impact, cockpit audio records something eerie. Laughter, a casual chuckle about the Cessna situation. Then, in the blink of an eye, First Officer Robert Fox's tone flips from calm to sheer panic. "We're hit, man! We are hit!" It's one of those moments that makes your blood run cold. Humans going from lighthearted to life or death in literal seconds. And sadly, it only gets darker from here. The final broadcast. After realizing what happened, Captain McFerrin made one last call to air traffic control. "Tower, we're going down. This is PSA." Think about that. No time for technical details. No time for maydays or procedures. Just a single chilling confirmation, "We're going down." And then he adds, "This is it, baby." If that doesn't make your chest tighten, wait until you hear the very last words spoken in that cockpit. "Ma, I love ya." In the chaos of alarms, engine roars, and screaming metal, an unknown voice cuts through with something raw, something human. "Ma, I love ya." Nobody knows if it was Captain McFerrin, First Officer Fox, or Flight Engineer Martin Wani. But we do know this. In those last seconds, training manuals and professional routines vanished. What remained was love, directed toward the person who gave them life. And that's what makes Flight 182 so haunting. It reminds us that even in catastrophe, humanity sneaks through. But the aftermath on the ground, that's where the tragedy multiplied. San Diego turned into a nightmare. The plane didn't crash into a remote field. It fell into the middle of San Diego houses, roads, people just going about their day. 7 locals, including 2 children, were killed on impact. Imagine sipping your morning coffee one second and a flaming jet falling through your roof the next. This wasn't just an airline disaster, it was a community disaster. And that devastation set a grim record. America's deadliest crash, at least for a while. Flight 182 instantly became the most deadly aviation disaster in U.S. history at the time. 144 lives lost. That record only lasted 8 months before American Airlines Flight 190. One went down in Chicago, killing 273. It's like the late 1970s decided to test the limits of aviation tragedy. But tragedy often sparks change. And this crash did exactly that. Radar failure or human failure. Many argued the technology of the time couldn't keep up. Pilots had to see and avoid smaller planes like the Cessna instead of being automatically alerted by onboard collision systems. The FAA came under fire for letting so much depend on human eyeballs and guesswork. The result? Systems like TCAS traffic collision avoidance system eventually became mandatory. In short, machines now warn pilots when another plane is too close. So yes, Flight 182 was horrific, but it also rewired the way aviation thinks about safety. The recording nobody can unhear. Cockpit voice recorders, those infamous black boxes, are made for one reason: to capture truth. And the truth of Flight 182 is brutal. The jokes, the confusion, the sudden panic, the brace yourself, and then silence. Investigators use that audio for safety, but the public hears it and gets something else. A haunting reminder that even the most routine flight can unravel in seconds. And that's why, 47 years later, people still talk about it. The legacy of a single crash. For the families, the crash wasn't just history, it was stolen futures. For aviation, it was a wake-up call that forced new rules, new systems, and stricter air traffic protocols. And for the rest of us, it's a chilling reminder of life's fragility, captured forever in the words, "Ma, I love ya." That's the paradox of Flight 182. It's both one of aviation's darkest tragedies and one of its most important teachers. So what do we do with stories like this? We remember, we honor, and we learn. Now, here's my question for you. If you had 10 seconds left to speak to the world, what would your final words be? Drop them in the comments I'll be reading. And hey, if you found this deep dive eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful stories, and share this with someone who thinks history is boring. Trust me, history is anything but boring, because sometimes the scariest thing isn't turbulence, it's the silence that comes after.